My name is Helen Levesque. I'm an adjunct lecturer at Indiana University. I teach statistics for the Criminal Justice Department. I'm also a wife and a mother of 6 children, ages 4 to 21. I was born with a prolapsed mitral valve, something often known as a heart murmur. It never caused any problems for me though, not until I was 40 and I was expecting our 5th child. At that point, it did start causing problems. I was having bouts of rapid atrial fibrillation that would land me in the hospital. In the end, though, it was okay. The baby was healthy, everything was fine, and after she was born, I had open heart surgery to repair the prolapsed mitral valve. Unfortunately, in the years after the surgery, though, I had a couple more recurrences of the bouts of atrial fibrillation. Not very often, just once every 1 or 2 years it would happen again. I'd have to rush to the emergency room and either be shocked or medicated back into a normal rhythm. It seemed though that was more of a nuisance kind of thing rather than life-threatening, so again, life went on. Until last February, I was teaching an evening course at IU, just a normal evening course for me, and although I don't remember much about that evening, apparently everything was fine. I seemed fine while I was teaching. I left the building with my teaching assistants and said goodbye to them and still seemed fine. And then I walked across the street to where I had parked my car and just collapsed right next to my car. Fortunately, even at 8:30 on a very cold February night, there's still plenty of people walking around on IU's campus, and 2 students who were heading into the fraternity right next to where I had collapsed spotted me and came to see what they could do right away. They immediately recognized that this was something serious, and one of them thought, there's a brother in our fraternity who's probably home who has EMT training. So he went running off to find that person while the other brother stayed with me and called 911. The EMT was at home and he came running out. He actually immediately recognized me because he'd taken my stats class the year before, and he went into EMT mode, so he started CPR. I talked to him later and he said that the first thing he noticed was that I had a very faint, rapid, irregular heartbeat, but even that stopped almost immediately. Shortly after that, IUPD arrived, and 2 IUPD officers, one of whom also turned out to have been one of my statistics students, also joined in and started doing CPR. The IU police also had an AED in their patrol car, which they got out and used to shock me. The shock that they gave me did not restore a normal rhythm, so they continued doing CPR until the ambulance arrived. When I was taken to the ambulance, the EMTs there found that I was in a shockable rhythm, and they shocked me, and I was restored to a normal rate and rhythm, but I didn't regain consciousness. So I was taken to Bloomington Hospital and admitted. The doctors there were concerned that I might have some brain damage from the time that I'd spent without oxygen. So they put me into a hypothermic coma for a few days. And then a few days later, I was woken from the coma and was perfectly fine. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know why I was there. It was very confusing, but I had no signs of brain damage. In fact, a week later, I was released from the hospital and was back in the classroom. Ultimately, the doctors decided that what happened was that I had had a bout of ventricular fibrillation rather than my usual atrial fibrillation. Ventricular fibrillation is a more serious arrhythmia, much more likely to lead to the cardiac arrest that I suffered that night. So before I left the hospital, I was given an implanted defibrillator. That way, just in case this ever happens again, I'll have help literally within me right there. Personally, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that what happened that night was all part of a bigger plan. And I see that in the little things, the many little things that happened. Normally, when I taught that evening class, I would park in one of the IU parking garages. At night, they're very deserted. If I had parked there and collapsed there, I'm almost certain I would not have gotten help, not immediately the way I did. But it was the case that one of my older children, who's an IU student, needed to have a car on campus that evening. And so I had told him, you can take my parking pass and I'll just park on the street. And then when I did park on the street, I was fortunate to get a spot right at a busy corner right next to 3rd Street. And so when I collapsed right there, not in the basement of the classroom building or anywhere else, but right there was help right away. And then the good care that I got from the students who knew what to do, from the IUPD officers who knew what to do, from the EMTs in the IU Health Ambulance, and then from the doctors at Bloomington Hospital, all of that combined to save my life. So I'm very grateful to all the angels watching over me, all the good things that happened, all of the people who came to my rescue, and just feel that every day is a gift at this point. I feel like the people who rescued me, they gave me a priceless gift. They gave a wife back to her husband, they gave a mother back to her children, they gave a teacher back to her students, and I just appreciate every day more. And when big things happen, when special things come up, now I'm thinking, I'm so glad that I'm here for this. And I'm so grateful to the people who made it possible that I'm here for this.